Hello, this is Jonathan Bell from MS Positive. As we know, diet and exercise and lifestyle are the things that make the biggest difference for MS patients and their outcome, their trajectory and outcome with MS. Today I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about exercise and the role that it's played in my journey and my experience. So I was very athletic as a child. I competed in sports successfully. I did lots of hiking and swimming and all the things that you would expect a young man to do. And I then got a desk job, a career. I didn't spend nearly as much time being physically active as I once did. And all of the exercise that I did was always sort of an add-on to my life, not the core of my life. Well, then in 2005, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And at that point in time, it was everything I could do to just stand up, walk across the room, and turn the light switch on or off, which was a long way from where I'd come from. Well, this is not about what I've lost, but about what I've learned and where I've been, where I've come since then. A few years after I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, I saw a video of an interview with George Takei. Most people would know him as Sulu from the original Star Trek, or from his very successful experience in social media, and he has a very large web presence now. Anyway, the interviewer said, at that point in time, he had reached a significant age, and he's like, "You look great for your age. How do you do it?" And he immediately responded with, "Well, push-ups." I was like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, push-ups. Every day I do 100 push-ups." And I was like, I'm a lot younger than him. I've got no excuse. I mean, yeah, I have an excuse. I deal with multiple sclerosis, but that deals with coordination and all of the other things that can affect. I was like, I just decided I am going to start doing 100 push-ups a day. I was like, I set myself some rules. I was like, I don't care how many sets it takes, how long it takes during the day. I've got 24 hours to get 100 push-ups in. At that point in time, I could do 5, maybe 10 if I pushed myself. Well, I made it a point. I made it happen, and by the end of the day, I had done 100 push-ups. I was like, wow, this is great. I feel tired, I feel sore, but I wonder if I can do it again. And I could. The next day, I did another 100 push-ups, and I was like, I wonder if I could make it a week. And, it was a lot. It was probably too much looking back on it now, but I made it happen. I went a week doing 100 push-ups a day. And it took a lot out of me, but I felt great. I felt great physically because I'd been doing something with my body instead of just sitting there staring at a screen all day and going through the mental fatigue while my body was still ramped up looking for something to do. And it felt great on a psychological level to set myself a goal and to stick with it. So I made it a week, which was amazing to me. I was like, I wonder if I could make it a month. And then it became 2. And long story short, I went for a full 12 months, for a full year, doing 100 push-ups a day. And what it did for me was amazing. No joke. It was one of the biggest experiences of my life, just because I set a goal for myself and I achieved it. And it did wonderful things for my health too. Now, most people would see me walk down the street and still say, "Oh, what's wrong with you? Are you drunk?" Everybody knows that one. I'm not drunk, I just have MS. But I was stronger and I felt better. And so that was where my journey started as I went back into it. A lot of MS patients deal with, and I do too, in regards to heat, to overheating, and then experiencing a lot of fatigue and cog fog and everything else that goes with that. And I've found that can be a major factor when it comes to working out. I can remember early on in my journey, I had a treadmill, and I was in a 62 degree room, I think, somewhere between 62 and 68 degrees. And I was walking along, and as I did so, I started getting hotter and started stripping off different layers. And in 16 minutes, I was down to like shorts, and sweat was pouring off of me, and I had to quit because I was just too hot. And that was a very common kind of experience when I was trying to work out. Well, in 2013, I had a session with someone that my neurologist referred to as a specialist, someone very specialized, for about 8 hours. And I'll get into that story another time because that is going to be an important factor, but I won't get into all of it right now. He told me that of the patients that he saw, and he was uncommon for him to see someone more than once, those that worked out did head and shoulders above those that did not, and that's no surprise. But what he told me was those that worked out in the pool did head and shoulders above those that worked out but not in the pool. And of those that worked out in the pool, those that worked out with this one specific exercise did head and shoulders above those that worked out in the pool but not with this exercise. So obviously I did everything I needed to get access to a pool where I lived at the time and start doing this exercise. And I had to work it out for myself. I didn't have anybody to explain to me how it worked. But it's walking chest deep in water, back and forth. And I had like a stretch of maybe 10 feet or so, and I'd walk that and then turn around and go back, and for 30 minutes, 5 times a week. And when I started, I think the first time in the first half hour, I made 36 passes. I was like, well, this is really great. And the great thing about working out in the pool is water is the best thermal conductor that we know of that is readily available. So even though I could feel my body working out and dumping heat, it would just dump into the water, and I wouldn't go through that same experience that we're also familiar with when it comes to the cog fog and lack of coordination and fatigue and all that other stuff. It just didn't happen. Even though I could feel I was working out and getting more tired, I wasn't shutting down doing it. So I would do that and get out and do my push-ups and keep going. And I did that for a while, and it was really great. And then after a while of that, I did, the place I was going, it was a YMCA, started a program for Parkinson's patients. And they said because MS and Parkinson's are similar enough that I could join them in what they called the Hydro Rider class, where they take stationary bikes and put them in the pool and then go through an exercise regime right there on the bike in the pool. And that was good for the most part, but the thing that I ran into with that was my lack of coordination. My feet would come out of the stirrups on the bike and sort of go all over the place, and sometimes run into the bike. I still feel like it was a good experience for me. I learned a lot. I met some absolutely wonderful people, some of which I still talk to, and I wouldn't trade that. Well, as you all know, then we moved. I moved, and where I moved to didn't have readily access. We didn't have a YMCA. We didn't have access to a pool. Well, there was one, but it was about 30 minutes away, and it was expensive, and so I had a lot of stuff to deal with right when we moved, and I didn't get access to that pool right away. Well, as I was getting my healthcare stuff back together, I went ahead and talked with my new physician about that, and she wrote me a prescription that my insurance would cover to go to the pool. And that was fine, but part of part of doing that was you're actually enrolling in physical therapy, and the pool was a part of that. And I've always known about physical therapists. I've had friends that, close friends that were involved in physical therapy, but I was really surprised at just how great the physical therapists there at that facility were for me and for my health. I started in the pool. I went through the exercises that I had. They had a bunch more for me. At first, they just wanted to watch me walk in the pool, and in retrospect, I know that they saw all kinds of stuff that I had no idea about. And then they started giving me more exercises in the pool, and that was good. They were focused a lot on balance, and I'd given up on balance years ago. I was like, well, I'm just going to try to not die from heart disease or something because I've been so sedentary, because we know that that's not good for your health at all. Well, then they got me out of the pool and into the gym, and they started working with me very specific exercises targeting muscles that they could tell were weak just by seeing how I moved, that I didn't even know I had, hardly, like my body had forgotten about. Because, in some ways I'm still fairly strong. I still have the muscle mass that I built in the gym, and all the stuff from the athletics as a child, that didn't go away. But specifically, there were weak muscles in my hips and in my ankles, in my lower extremities, that were very weak, and I had no idea. And they started giving me exercises to target that, to deal with it and make it stronger and healthier. And one day, my physical therapist just said, how do you feel about homework? I was like, great, yeah, let's do this, because I was like, this is wonderful, but it's sort of a temporary kind of thing. It's got a time limit on how long I can go there before the insurance isn't going to cover it anymore. And I was like, anything I can take home from this, I want to do this. I'm going to be doing something, and if you can help me know what to do better, then that perfect. And they met me right there with it, and started developing a workout plan specifically tailored for me, for my health, for my body, and what its needs were. And I had no idea how great that was going to be for me and for my health. So I went from doing this every day to every other day to give my body some time to recover, because it was a strong enough workout that my body needed time to recover. The weaker muscles needed time to recover. And I highly recommend you talk with your own physician, find and use your own physical therapist, because they'll know what you need and what your body needs. But there were some things that, on a broader scale, I think might be more general, where I went from doing 100 push-ups a day to doing planks to make my core stronger, to make it so that those secondary muscles that help with things like balance are stronger. Planks and bridges are the two exercises that I do that are more of a general type of exercise. And then it goes on down to more specified stuff targeting the specific muscles that I need, like working with my ankles with bands and stuff like that. And I have printouts of all that stuff that I go through every day that I work out to make sure I don't miss anything or I don't forget anything. So that really has been a high-level overview of my experience with working out. I feel better. I have more energy. And I still have off days. But recently I feel like I've been having fewer off days, which is, better is just it's the dream. It's what we all hope for. And getting us enough quality sleep is a very important part of that, to give your body time to recover and regenerate. And I'll go into that more in other videos because there's other things that go into that. But one of the things I really want to touch on is that when I work out and I'm doing the exercises that I need to, one of the symptoms that I've dealt with is when I'm lying in bed trying to fall asleep, having spasticity in my legs where they're jerking around and or cramps. I'll wake up in the middle of the night with a severe cramp and have to like get out of bed and walk it off or do whatever I can to get the cramp to go away, because otherwise you can't sleep like that. When I work out, that stuff just goes away, and it's not immediate, but usually within a week or two, I'm doing enough better that I don't see that stuff anymore, and that's a very major thing for how the quality of life and what I'm able to do, and it's one of many benefits of working out, because people were made to move. We weren't made to sit in one place and focus on one thing and not move around. So that's a high-level overview of my journey with exercise, and I highly recommend you talk with your physician, listen to your body, and figure out what you and your body need to not just sink into a seat and not do anything. So I think that's going to be it for today. I hope that you got value out of this. If it was beneficial to you, I hope that I've earned your like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next week.